Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Khan, product designer working in London. In this video we're going to talk through a super important topic which is around failing design interviews. I've failed multiple design interviews before landing a job at big tech, and I'm sure it'll be useful to talk through feedback that I've got and how do you bounce back from design interviews that you failed. We're going to look at concepts from the book Grit by psychologist Angela Duckworth, where she talks through why do some people succeed and others fail. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe for future design related videos, and let's get started. So dealing with a rejection, when you do get that email sent to you or that phone call, it really does suck. I've been there multiple times, and the best way to really deal with this is just understand that sometimes it's not you that's actually the problem, and there's so much to learn from this situation, and just be humble and grateful that you're going to be receiving feedback. And if you do get rejected, the best thing to do is just be humble. And reality is it does suck, this situation, and the more often you're interviewing and you get these rejections, the easier it does become with experience to deal with the situation. But what we got to realize is that we can't just feel sorry for ourselves. Life is really difficult and there are going to be setbacks. It's not a linear path to success, and what separates us from highly successful people is the most successful people Angela talks about in Grit is those people that really persevere in these situations. They really dig deep and they show that grit and perseverance in this situation. So you may have failed, but you need to persevere and show that grit that you can eventually make it. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you'll eventually get there if you persevere. And I'm sure you've got this, but remember in this situation, see it as a learning opportunity. It is only a step back and a temporary roadblock to your longer term goal, but you've got this. So the next concept we're going to look at is dealing with rejections as step backs, not setbacks. It's just a temporary roadblock into the longer term goal, and we're eventually going to reach this longer term goal. We just have to see this as an opportunity of what can I really be learning from here. We need to put in a consistent effort to make sure that we can achieve this longer term goal. And if we see this with a growth mindset of what can I learn from this situation, what is this situation trying to teach me, we are going to eventually get there. We need to get that feedback from the interview and really dig deep and see what can I learn from here. Maybe I don't have the right experience for the job, my visual design could improve, or I need to actually get more experience in a certain area before I'm good enough for this job. But these are only step backs if we see this as a growth mindset and we see these as opportunities for things for us to learn from. So have that growth mindset. A key concept that Angela Duckworth talks about in Grit is that even though things might not be going our way immediately, is that the key to success when reaching our goals is effort matters more than anything else. It may seem easy and something very obvious, but it's very easy to forget. And what separates the highly successful people from others is that they carry on and they carry on persevering. It's all about putting that effort and turning up day to day, even when things aren't always going our way. Are you going to make sure that you turn up in next week, next month, next year, trying to still achieve your higher level goal, even though things might not be going our way immediately? And it's about persevering in those times. It's easy to forget that life isn't a sprint and everyone's on their own timelines, and we need to basically turn up day to day, and it's more of a marathon. So when it comes to design interviews, one of the best things and most valuable things, even if we don't succeed at the first time, is we action and we get feedback. Feedback is one of the best things that is provided for us from a design interview, and it's about us deciphering this and finding the opportunities where we can grow and learn. So personally, before I interviewed for big tech companies, I wanted to see immediate things I could improve on and get other people's perspectives on this. So I decided to interview for various different startups and other companies, just so then that they could point out my flaws, and it's a really effective way of finding out where you need to improve on as a designer. So before it became to the big tech interviews, I was more prepared I had time to work on the areas where I was deemed a lot weaker. So let's dive into the feedback that I got before I actually done some other design interviews and how I actioned them and looked to improve. So a key concept that Angela Duckworth talks about in Grit is focusing on low level goals. So if we focus on high level goals all the time, it can get very overwhelming. An example of this is, for example, I want to get a job at a big tech company, let's just say for example Google, and if we carry on focusing on this high level goal, it can get very overwhelming. We need to break this down into lower level goals, and from interview feedback we'll probably have a good idea of things that we need to improve on. For example, we may have feedback that we need to improve our visual design, and from here we can break down that lower level goal. What do you want to actually improve in your visual design? Is it understanding how to work better with different color palettes, or balancing out my hierarchy of a design better, or is it increasing my understanding of working with design systems as well? So focus on more lower level goals, and you be more gritty if in the sense that you won't actually be getting overwhelmed by this high level goal, and you can tick things off and you can feel more accomplished as well. So to get to our high level goal, is easier to focus on the lower levels and stop getting overwhelmed by this day to day. So let's dive straight into the web browser and check out some design interview feedback that I got when I didn't pass interviews. And these were step backs and learnings that I got. And the key thing is that I've been learning is to be humble in terms of receiving feedback. And these are really awesome opportunities to learn. And sometimes when we look through this feedback that I just didn't really have the right experience, or they just didn't see that this role was really going to be the right fit for what I was looking for. And that's great for both parties, because I don't want to be unhappy in a role that doesn't suit the goals that I was looking for in a role, and they don't want someone that's going to be unhappy and that is just not going to enjoy the role and will eventually leave as well. So let's go straight into Google Docs and check out some of the interview feedback that I got and that I actioned when I didn't pass certain interviews. And again, these are all really great learnings that I took into my big tech interviews to help me pass those. And it's about remembering that these are all opportunities for learners that are going to help us to our higher level goal that's eventually going to get us there, and we just have to be grateful in these times as well. Sometimes some of the feedback is more like our company doesn't really align with what you're looking for, and you might be looking for something else that we can't really provide, and that's fair enough. They're saving me a lot of time as well, in the sense that if the opportunity is not what I'm looking for, it doesn't match my skill set, then it's best that we both don't continue. So here we can see I was looking at some fintech roles, and they said that the way that I work and my design day-to-day process might not just suit the way the company's working here for the start, which is fair enough. And they said that I need to add more finesse to my designs, which I actioned and improved, because I remember for this interview I basically really rushed some of the designs that I presented with them. And then here's another company where they basically just said that the environment for the company wouldn't be really what you're looking for day to day, because I said that I wanted to join like quite a big design team with lots of designers to learn off of, like with high established ICs that have really actually shipped really cool stuff and I can learn from them. And they basically just went, I don't think this really matches what you want, but they're quite a big fan of my work as well. So that was really awesome to hear as well. So another bit of feedback we got is, oh wait, you didn't really include like metrics and results of how to improve stuff, and there's a lack of data, which was fair enough, because I realized that that's actually really important for some of the other companies I was applying for, and it was great someone was able to spot that early for me, and I actioned that and put that into my presentation as well. And they wanted to me build up better rationale for my decision making as well. So the more interviews I'd done, the more feedback I got, and it allowed me to basically come up with a better presentation when presenting my designs and actually action these things that they mentioned. And here is some like really good feedback about, oh wait, you got good time management, presentation skills, that's really cool, but then they want something about values and customer centricity. Maybe I needed to put more designs on this as well. And this is a book that I was suggested to buy, Universal Principles of Designs, and leverage more of these when talking about them in interviews. So that was like really useful to hear. And the last one is, this was one of the most awesome bits of feedback that eventually, this basic was the reason why I eventually landed a role at big tech, as well as having awesome mentors and stuff. But I got 2 pages worth of feedback here, and this helped me so much. Like, this is what I mean by being grateful for feedback, because this 2 pages, there were so many golden nuggets here. And this really helped me they mentioned things that I could have done better when I got to the final stage, of things that, like, you should have talked more about your rationale of working with cross-functional partners, for example. Next time I made sure I made that clear. Or the design to solve a problem was impressive, so that was pretty cool. And talking more about trade-offs, yeah, it was good to see that maybe I need to have more of a strong personal opinion of things, so I noted that down as well. So this is like the Google Docs of feedback that I got, and now I'm going to talk through how I actioned it. So with all of this interview feedback, I was encouraged to look at this stop, start, continue framework from a mentor. So when it came to the next interview, it made it clear, these are things I should stop doing in an interview, these are things that I've been missing out on that I need to start doing, and things I need to continue doing. And this again helps with Angela Duckworth's book of Grit, where she talks about high level goals and low level goals. The things that we can start doing are very small things, and we can see there's a lot of things that I should be continuing doing from that feedback that I got. For example, they loved the fact that I was showing intentionality, good soft skills, building up ideas, showing design principles. Remember, some of this feedback I was getting on earlier interviews, and now other interviewers are saying that you're really good at showing design principles, and it's really good that you've been showing like your rationale and stuff. But then I only realized to do this once other people gave me this feedback. So that's really cool about implementing failing again feedback and iterating quick. So this is a great example of this. They said research and intuition, that was really good. Mention of inclusivity. But then, what do I need to stop doing? Unpolished work. I showed a prototype where some of the interactions broke, and some of the the empty states or the negative states of some stuff didn't work well. So I needed to make sure in my next interview I had a really, really refined prototype. And making sure that I have a strong personal opinion on things, like don't sit on the fence of when I had an opinion on an app or the design language or something. Do I think this is right or wrong? Just, it doesn't matter whether you think it's right or wrong, just go with a direction. And the last thing here is, this is a list of things that I need to start doing, some low level goals. So grateful I got this feedback, because it meant when it came to other interviews I could start doing this and action in this. So my past work, just bring it up to my new standards, because it could be 6 months old, some of the case studies I was presenting, and you improve as a designer. Providing that rationale, like this is what you need to do when you get your feedback, is when someone says you didn't do this, put this in the things that you want to start doing, your new low level goals to help you achieve that design job. Make sure you demonstrate empathy with people that use certain technologies, have a strong opinion on ethics, calling out things below your standard. That this is a key thing in interviews, where you can point out, actually today I realized that actually I'll improve on this decision and I'll do things differently now. I've improved on the designs. Interviews love that stuff as well. Making sure the margins weren't off, like something simple like that. I needed to make sure, until someone pointed that out to me, I didn't realize, and I was really lucky that someone helped me point that out. And I assume when you talk about a company's product features, I guess like this is when having conversations about their designs and stuff, like have that, say that you assume to basically come across as so that you've got more of an open opinion on things. So again, have this start, stop, continue framework with all your interview feedback. So I've got all of this feedback in the Google Docs, and then I deciphered it with, these are things that I need to start doing, I need to stop doing, and we've got a load of things I need to continue doing, and that helped me so much. And like I said, if I come in with that growth mindset, I'm grateful for this feedback. I'm going to persevere, and I can't wait for the next interview to improve. And it's just been gritty. I failed multiple times, but I got all of this feedback, and I eventually passed to make it to Meta. So as you can see here, I showed some grit, and I continued going when things do get tough and you have to persevere. And I was happy to receive all of this feedback and this using that stop start continue framework to persevere and action things you can improve to eventually land your goals. So hopefully you can leverage this and remember that grit is about the resolve to keep on going when things get tough, and things will be tough, but I'm sure you'll eventually get there when you persevere and put in that effort. And with the feedback that we action, I'm sure we'll get there a lot faster because people have pointed out things that we didn't really know before. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I hope you learned something new. Be sure to check out the book Grit. I'll put the link in the description below, by Angela Duckworth. We can see here the whole concept is around persevering and trying to break down this longer term goal into smaller chunks and getting that feedback, and I'm sure we'll eventually get there. It's not a sprint, it's just a marathon, and we'll eventually get there if we carry on persevering, and I'm sure you've got this. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for future design related videos, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.